Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. We got Jeb and Mike tonight. Boys, the Furman voodoo is alive and well. Sanford dropped its second game in conference to the not so much appreciated Furman Paladins. Boys, before we get to the Furman loss, the Citadel dub, let's do a little around the horn. A lot happening around the SoCon, around the country, especially related to basketball. So first off, Jeb, starting with you. Outside of Samford, who is going to win the SoCon regular season?
Sam, I think it's going to be... I'm going to go with UNCG.
Interesting pick. They currently sit
UNCG
tied for second, so not bad.
UNCG,
go ahead.
Yeah, UNCG has been my dark horse. I just officially said that on the podcast, but I feel like I've been saying that.
Well, they were preseason top 3, so how dark is that horse?
Used to be a women's only school in North Carolina, so that's a fun fact about UNCG. My grandmother went there. So
still think that. Mike, who's your pick?
Yeah, it's tough. Considering Sanford would have to lose some games in this scenario, it's going to be
Sanford can lose?
Only in Travelers Rest / Greenville, apparently.
Yeah.
I'd like to say ETSU, but I just don't think they can shoot well enough. They're super athletic and super physical, but can't really shoot well. So I'm going to go UTC. They're kind of in stride right now at a slow start this season, played really well against us, and almost could have, should have beat us. So I'm going to stick with UTC.
Yeah, that's a good pick. In other basketball news, shocked the basketball world. I don't even follow the NBA, and I've spoken more about it than I have the entire NBA season combined. Mike, Luca going to the Lakers. Why?
Crazy.
What happened? What am I missing here?
I think they're fat shaming him, honestly. Apparently he came in a little overweight to start the season and then just said, get out of here.
Dang.
I deleted social media on Sunday night for like a little church fast, and I'm not kidding you, I deleted Twitter or X, set my phone on the charger, and I see my phone light up, and I turn over and I see the news from ESPN.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Twitter gold right now, and I cannot witness it.
I can only imagine. Jeb, Luca to the Lakers.
I think the NBA got what they wanted out of it. Because none of us have been talking about the NBA. The NBA viewership is down. And something like this has everyone talking about the NBA and thinking about the NBA. So, call it a conspiracy theory, but is the NBA like, let's move arguably the best player in the NBA to the Lakers, which is the most
Lakers. For nothing.
most played team in 2K. So it has like the biggest brand in all of the NBA. So you trade the biggest player to the biggest team.
You know what the worst part is? Luca's now not eligible for the Supermax this coming summer. He was looking at a $300 million payday, and that is now postponed. Now, I do think he's an unrestricted free agent come 2026. So maybe that's why the price was so low if the Mavs weren't thinking they were going to resign him. But wild news. The People's Republic of Basketball keeping it real this weekend, But going on to the SoCon action, might as well talk about the loss, get it out of our system a little early. Furman. Boys, some of the most atrocious first 10 minutes of basketball I've seen this season. Credit goes to Furman's defense. They definitely played with pressure and did not foul us. We simply just could not find the space, the timing, the rhythm to beat a pretty tough on-ball defense and off-ball that they displayed. But Mike, walk us through it. Why did we lose? What did you see?
Yeah, just like you said, Sam, slow start, terrible start. Furman played incredible defense and kind of just suffocated us. We turned the turned the ball over 10 times in the first half. Rylan Jones had
That's so bad.
5 turnovers in the whole game and only 2 assists, which is kind of the opposite of his normal assist-to-turnover ratio.
Yep.
And they had 2 guys that just absolutely went off and scored, I think, career highs. So Nick Anderson had 17 points in the first half of Furman's 33 total.
He was feeling it.
He was feeling it. He was hitting everything. You could kind of tell, like, he's hitting
And you
shots.
gotta love it. Like,
yeah.
He's not a guy that we've grown to hate because this is his first year and only year on the team. So we don't have just like that built-in angst. So when he's popping off, you're like, all right, this guy's kind of cool. But
yeah,
that's all. That's the only good thing I'll
he
say.
cooled off a little bit in the second half. I think he finished the game with like 24 points maybe, but couldn't touch him. And then Cooper Bowser, 5 for 8 from 3.
From 3.
Cooper Bowser was 8 for 8 from the field with 21 points. Also, I believe a career high for him.
That'll play.
So
we did say he was the bright spot of this Furman team in conference play, and boy, did he have a career night. Yeah, 21 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks. Once again, scoring in the paint, whether we're driving it, whether it's the post, for whatever reason, we cannot seem to finish when they're playing good defense. We can finish when it's wide open. Sometimes we get lucky, but not when it's contested.
Furman looked a lot longer. Like, there wasn't much space. Grant talked about this in our chat. So, yeah, it just felt like there was no space for us on offense to, like, find any looks. And we were forcing balls into the inside to Riley. At least I noticed that once. And then it was just poor. Like, we played from behind. Had a chance there at the end. We did have the last shot for 3 to, like, maybe steal the game, but
we had a couple of chances to pull ahead.
This is about like as expected. As we thought it would go with Furman. They always do this.
I know, it sucks. I hate it.
They're dropping games to. Yeah,
they're renovating the stadium, right? It's not new.
Well, I think they're playing in downtown Greenville right now because.
Yeah, but are they building a brand new stadium or are they just renovating?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we need just we need a new stadium, new start, new anything. But what were we going to say, Mike?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, we turned the tide in the second half. I mean, we forced them to turn the ball over 9 times in the second half. We took the lead with like a couple minutes left, I think, for the first time in the entire game, maybe. Or
I don't think
the start of the game.
I think they led wire to wire.
Well, maybe we tied it with a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
But all the momentum was in our direction towards the end of the game. And then it felt like every single bounce or call that could have gone Furman's way went Furman's way.
Yeah.
Whether it was like a little touch foul against Sanford, out of bounds call. Like there was an out of bounds call towards the end of the game that was a 50-50 shot. And the refs reviewed it, looked over it for minutes. Nobody could have told you what the right call was, but because it went Furman's way on the, live on the court, they couldn't overturn it. There's also an opportunity where I think it was maybe Brownell. They called him for stepping out of bounds, and it looked like maybe his heel didn't hit the ground and his toes are still in bounds, like things like that, where just kind of felt like all the little bounces went Furman's way. Also, they shot 21 free throws to our 9, so that'll kill you.
Big difference. No, you're right, Mike. In a tight game, if the little things aren't going for you, that's usually what's the difference. Now, it should not have been as tight, but when you don't make shots, I mean, you're not going to really beat anybody. And we just could not buy a daggone bucket.
It was with 3 minutes left, 3 minutes, 38 seconds left, tied 65-65. And then it was like almost an entire minute of no offense by either team. Maybe one free throw by Furman. And then Nick Anderson made a layup, took them to 3 up, 68-65 with 2 minutes, 23 seconds left. Rylan Jones turned the ball over there. So it was still 68-65. We just turned the ball over. Furman, Nick Anderson makes another jumper, mid-range jumper, 70-65. And then Bucky called a timeout. And then Jaden he didn't hit a three, but he took a three, didn't make it at 1 minute 29 left. I think that's kind of when I was like, all right, this is not going to go our way. And
Dude,
then
at halftime, I knew it was over, even though
we had tied it at 65-65. This is what Mike's talking about. Like, the momentum was going our way at that 3 minute.
But that's when the
38
Furman voodoo kicks in.
It's like our offense just turned off once we tied the game. They're like, all right, job's done.
Well, they're sitting there with the voodoo doll, and they take the ball out of the doll's hands, and then it just all freezes, you know?
That literally happened one time with Colin Holloway. Like, did you see that?
Dude, I don't want to talk about Colin Holloway.
He just, like, watches the ball.
Can we get it's official. I've said it in the group chat. Can we get a refund?
Oh,
he's decent. Dude plays 27 minutes, goes 1 for 6 with 2 points, 1 turnover.
Yeah, but he's like
he's getting paid
like the brains, you know?
This is okay. This is pure speculation, but I bet he's getting paid the biggest bag on the team. Brother, you can't score 2 points against the biggest opponent we have on the schedule. Refund, please. Now, maybe I'll change my tune come conference play, but keep your receipts if you're listening.
PJ Smith only scored 6 points against us. Do you think
we don't want look?
Furman
we were singing PJ's praises at last week's episode. We can cut that tune.
I mean, Trey Ford had 12 points, but I honestly, he's got to get going more. He's been a little.
He's been cold.
That's the problem.
He's been a little cold.
No one else is getting go. Like, we can't just be relying on Trey Ford to go for this team to win. But that's kind of what it's been looking like. Well, when he's on, we're on.
I mean, we're winning games when he's not on. I mean, if you want to beat a Kansas in the first round, you need Trey Ford to play well.
100%.
Early this season, he was automatic from 3. Like, probably averaging close. Was he averaging like close to 20 a game early in SoCon play? Like towards the end of non-conference era of SoCon. It's like every time I shot the ball, he thought it was going in.
I can tell you.
And now he's just kind of cooled off a little bit.
So starting with the Alabama A&M game, he has averaged 15 points every single game. Now, granted, there was a 7-point appearance against Mercer, 8 against ETSU, 21 though against UNCG balances that out. So he's had 2 under 10, but for the most part, it's been above 15 with a few around 10. So it's a sporadic. It's not as consistent.
Yeah, but going from like West Georgia, starting at West Georgia, which was like end of November.
Yep.
He goes 16, 25, 15, 11, 27, 19, 18, 10, 21. Yeah. And since then, it's been that 21-point game was UNCG. Since then, it's been 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and then 17 versus Citadel when that's a high school team. So
you ready for our star players numbers? Starting in conference play. Citadel, 5 points. 7 points against Western. 12 against VMI. 14 against UNCG. 11 against Mercer. 10 against ETSU. 8 against Chattanooga. 6 against Wofford. 2 against Furman. 14 against Citadel. Congratulations. 14 against the worst team in America.
That's close to it.
Oh, is that who it was? Yeah.
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
I'm salty.
I think we're just really because we thought he was going to be like a bruiser, like high energy Marshall,
and could make a contested layup or a play in the post. What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's a new age, guys. Once the players get paid, there are no rules about criticism. They're not student athletes anymore. They are professional athletes.
It's just his farewell tour, right? It's like his 5th year.
Yes, and he's been in college basketball for 5 seasons, and he's playing like this. Like, come on.
I mean, he still cleans it up on the boards more than a lot of players on the team.
Because he's on the court, Jeb. He played 27 minutes against Furman. Like, it's crazy.
But, Sam, he plays because he's one of those guys that just, like, doesn't really make a ton of mistakes other than not scoring. But, like, in that one drop ball that was pretty crucial against Furman.
No
But, like,
mistake.
He's kind of like in the right place at the right time. He makes the right move.
Dude.
Who are you going to
Makes
give
the
that?
right pass.
Who are you going to give those minutes to, Sam?
Now
on
that's
this
a good
team,
question,
on this
Jeb.
roster?
Jeb, that is a valid question. That's a valid question. I don't have an immediate answer for you because Julian Brown is also not that great. You could give more minutes to Larry, but Larry poses no offensive threat. But I guess neither does Holloway. So, like, what do you mean? Trading apples for apples there. So maybe Larry.
Didn't they?
Well, I love the energy that Zion plays with. He's just young.
He's going to be
just
good.
young.
Didn't the
He's-
broadcast
hit-
talk about Larry? The broadcast talk about Larry's efficiency in the paint.
I don't know what numbers
You
they're
guys pay
looking at. I
attention to
guess if you
that?
go 1 for 1 every game, your efficiency rating might be
Heartbeat
really high.
inefficient when
Right.
you're
That's
shooting
that
one
was
inch from the
my
rim every
that was
time.
my that was my critique when they said that, but it's still, yeah, it's a good point.
We love
Um,
watching Larry.
No, Zion
Only
looks
got
good.
8 minutes.
Like, give
Yeah.
Zion a little more points, maybe, but like
Yeah, he
Ryland's
still looks like
consistent.
fresh. He doesn't look confident.
This.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
in
what.
moments
This
for sure.
the
for
last
sure.
couple of games in conference play, or a few games, does not look like top 5 scoring offense in the country like it did
No.
through 17.
No. Guys, this looks like a one and done come SoCon tournament team. When you're only putting up 70 points, because the problem in this league, outside of ETSU, and maybe ETSU because they have bugs, there's a Nick Anderson on every one of these teams that any given night can bury you if you don't bring your game. And we don't really have one of those guys. Brown,
We don't have anybody that's showing
That's
up.
not
and,
true, Sam.
he's
That's
not consistent
the
enough.
furthest thing from the truth.
What part is not true? Because there's a lot of truth in what I just said.
Any given night, Brownell, Jones,
Yeah.
or Trey Fort could go off and bury you.
Okay. That's fair.
So, like, sure, like, we could run into a performance like we did against Furman or
But-
ETSU or whatever, but, like, our guys can do the same. But
kind
if
of.
you want the assurance of we're the best team in the league, we're going to run train through the tournament and go to the NCAA tournament, like, that's not going to be there.
So, Mike, that's not okay. Yes, you were right. That's not really what I was saying. I was saying we aren't going to be able to play like this and win in Asheville because on any given night, any of these teams can just rise up and beat us. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we don't have scores.
That's bad.
But
Like,
here,
demands
but here you go.
everything.
Here you go. Are you ready for this juggernaut of an offense we keep hearing about? Guess how many 80-point games we have after the VMI win? 1, and it was against Citadel. That was on January 9th. We played VMI. We scored 81. We haven't scored 80 points until February 1st against Citadel. That's not good.
Okay, well, how many under 70-point games did we have? 1 against ETSU. So it's
And we
not bad to be
lost.
because I know, but I'm saying it's not terrible to be consistently scoring in the 70s.
But our defense isn't good enough to be doing that and feel comfortable about any game.
As long as you're
Exactly.
controlling the pace of the game, it's fine.
Even when
We're not, but
I don't know.
Yeah, we're not controlling the pace of
Even
the
when-
game.
Even
We're
in a
playing
game
from
like
behind in like every game.
UTC is a perfect example of that, Mike, where we're playing the pace that we want to play, and we're still just getting beat.
yeah, no, you're right.
This is an interesting team. The pieces
The other
are
thing
there
is,
for
like,
for a
When
championship. but
our guys, when they go cold, they all go cold together. That's what it feels like.
it does
Like
feel
Furman's
like that.
That's what it feels like, right? But
yeah, it seems to correlate with the quality of the team we're playing against too. Ironic.
So that's another thing. How much of this,
playing your
guys?
opponent.
How much of the fact that we're sitting in first place just has more to do with there's not a very good SoCon team this year?
There's not. The
But
SoCon's
here's the
down this year.
thing, for Furman, PJ Smith went 0-7 from 3.
Yeah, and they still beat
Does he
us.
lead them in scoring on the season?
He's
Yeah.
top 5 in
He's-
SoCon.
he's
in
their
scoring, I
guy,
think.
dude.
He's their
Yeah,
guy.
I know,
He's,
but
yeah.
he had 6 points.
Yeah.
But he didn't
No, yeah.
have to go off because Nick
But
Anderson did.
to be
and
fair,
Cooper
the other 2 guys went
Bowser.
off who don't go off. So it's like, sure,
Exactly,
PJ
but
Smith didn't go
that
off,
doesn't
but the other
happen
guys
for
went
us.
off.
It's, my point is that doesn't
Sometimes.
happen.
Sometimes.
On,
I did
Like Ryland doesn't normally put up 19. Like that was kind of the pop-up game for him.
He
We
does
just
when he
didn't have
has
anybody
to
else.
when the team plays like this. When Ryland's
Right.
putting up 19, it's because they're playing a crappy game like this.
Yeah, maybe it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem.
But if Ryland put up 19, Brownell's going to put up 19. If Brownell doesn't put up 19,
I mean, that's the thing. Brownell was 3 for 13. 3 for 13 from the field. Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And I guess that shot selection, maybe he thought he could get inside when he couldn't. Maybe he thought he could hit a mid-range when he shouldn't. But if he's slightly more efficient, we win the game. So if this is how every game is going to be, flip of a coin, if the players come out a little good, we have a shot of winning. But if
You're talking about Brownell?
Yeah.
His shot selection the entire year has been questionable.
Yes, but a lot of it goes in a lot.
Yeah,
so you don't question it.
He doesn't take what's traditionally considered a high percentage shot, but it just goes in every time.
It just goes in. Yeah. If you drain it, I don't. No questions. But at a night like this, 3 for 13, 0 for 4 from 3, 7 points, not going to cut it. Not when you're basically our best scorer. Trey Ford tied top 2 scorers.
I would say Brownell is our most consistent.
Yeah.
Best scorer. Yeah.
Okay. Any other point? We've beaten this game to death. Any other points?
Garrett Heaton only had 4 rebounds and 2 points.
Scrub. That's what also sucks about this game. Go ahead, Jeff.
When I'm watching Brownell play, it's like he's missing shots and taking random shots. And I'm like, but then he collects like 24 points, and you're like, how did he do that?
He's sneaky.
That's how I feel it's sneaky, right? I mean, I appreciate it when he scores.
If we win the tournament, it's going to be because of him.
It's nothing, right? He's one of our best players. I'll go ahead and say it, but it's just weird. I just feel weird. I'm like, how did he get that many points? Like,
I feel like that way with Ryland Jones too.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the same way. Yeah, Trey Ford, he's scoring points and you can feel it.
It's like when Trey doesn't shoot, you get mad. You're like, Trey, just shoot it. Don't pass it, shoot it.
But Lucas Wall's like always just there collecting 10 points, like putting up numbers. He should get more minutes.
And he had a fine game.
He's been getting more minutes, but he had a fine game. Like, he's just reliable.
Now, I don't know who was guarding Nick Anderson. If he was guarding Nick Anderson, then he did not have a fine game, but I don't remember who was guarding him. So, fortunately for whoever that was, we won't rip into you. It's like if
Lucas
all the teams still lose
like a glue guy for sure.
Why does it have to be Furman? Like, why couldn't we have just lost to Mercer? Just don't. Maybe they inbound it correctly and we lose. Whatever. We lost to Mercer.
Maybe we sold our souls with that win against Mercer that we shouldn't have, and price we paid.
Why can we not win at Furman? It just grates my gears. Yeah, because whoever brought up Garrett Heaton, that was the annoying thing. Is like if you had told me before the game, PJ was going to score 6, Garrett was going to score 2, and Ben Vanderwall was going to score 5. I'm like, oh my god, did they come out of the locker room at halftime? We're up by 50, and no, we lost.
Yeah.
Again, it's that Furman voodoo at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, one of the most corrupt healthcare systems in the country. But we don't have to go into that.
Are they?
They do some shady for-profit-ish. They do some shady for-profit-ish, but not, contrary to popular belief, not all healthcare systems are uber corrupt. Bon Secours is. All right, let's get to Citadel briefly. Let's talk about a win. A bright spot for Colin Holloway, who scored 14 points against one of the worst teams in the country, literally one of the worst teams in the country. But Sanford got the dub, 83-58. Never in doubt. I think we went up by 20 at tip. I mean, no one had a bad game, so I guess Ryland was 0 for 4 from 3, but we can forgive that because he's Ryland Jones. He can do no wrong. And we won by 30.
Yeah, that game was
This
over
was just
before it started.
Just a scrimmage, a get right scrimmage is what it was.
Let's hope, dude.
Sorry,
Let's
Senegal.
hope it's a get right scrimmage because
It's just a nice vacate of
Like-
Charleston.
yeah, because we got ETSU coming in hot on Saturday.
Riley had 15.
Yeah, I mean,
Riley went to work.
the problems with Riley are still the same, and they're still overcomable. But he's just not strong enough. Like he still just gets bullied against the bigger guys.
I don't think it's that he's not strong enough, and this is probably what you're saying. It's not that he's not strong enough; it's that he's not didn't play strong enough. I
Yeah,
feel like he's
yeah,
got all the
yeah,
strength he
yeah.
needs. He just,
You think he's such a big dude.
yeah.
That's
And
like
the touch around the rim is
Yeah.
kind of
suspect. If he makes that transition next year,
Yeah.
that's the difference in this team. Is we are one more legitimate scoring threat down low from really opening up. But then as I say that, the guards from deep have not necessarily taken advantage like they should, other than Trey Fort. We need Isaiah West to find the rhythm, to keep finding the rhythm from three. That would be pretty key. But outside of that, like you remember, like it seems like we've had more volume in the past when it comes to 3-point shooters than we necessarily do this year. Is that am I thinking about that wrong, or is that about right?
like we've had
You're talking
more
about
shooters
volume
on our
in terms of
roster. It's
volume
tough
of
because I think
shots?
More guys who can consistently make a three.
Okay. Right.
I would say that we don't have a
Or
ton
am I
of
just-
two-way players. Like we have
Yeah.
Julian Brown, who can play offense, but he can't play defense. And then we've got not Trey Fort. We've got Isaiah West and Josh Holloway, who can play great defense, but can't really play offense. I mean, Holloway could drive, but he can't shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Trey Fort's not the best on defense, but he's serviceable. Like I feel like last year, all of our
spoiled.
guys just knew how to play both ways. Yeah.
We were spoiled last year.
The
There's so much
defense was
offense
better last
defense
year.
going on right now. Like it's gonna be so hard for these guys to get in the flow. I realize that Bucky's always cycling guys in and out, but the offense defense thing, it's gonna be tough to like go in for one half of the play and then come out.
It feels a little bit like
I mean,
two seasons ago where we didn't have, like where Jaden was still kind of growing into his offensive game. AJ was still growing into his offensive game. You just had athletic guards. The problem this year is there's not really that youth we can hang our hat on being like, oh, next year. Because you got guys like Rylan, Brownell.
The team's 18-5, you know?
Do what?
We're leading the conference right now. We're 18-5, 8-2 in the conference. I know we're only a game ahead. But
it's just a paper thin margin. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I think we want to be spoiled, but we're not yet.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
again, like it's February and teams are still going to like grow between now and March.
Yeah, we got a lot.
That's not
to
even
grow.
my words. That's
Long
Bucky's
way to grow.
words. So
I'm just not really seeing the Furman loss throws a wrench in stuff because they're really just not that good of a team.
But look at the rest of the SoCon. Every team in the SoCon has lost games they shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, VMI is sitting at 5-5, which is awesome, but also like what?
I get that it's Buckyball and we're supposed to be this great program and we want to like hold ourselves to a higher standard than the rest of the SoCon. But at the end of the day, we're doing what everybody else is doing, and we're just doing a little bit better.
A little bit better.
We're just
You're
not.
right, Mike. You're right.
We're not as good as we would have liked to be, considering the momentum that the program's moved in the last couple of years.
I'd still like our refund though on Colin. We could have used that money elsewhere. All right, let's get to the results from the past week. Mercer beat Citadel. Shocker. UTC over Western, VMI over Wofford, baby. Let's go Keydets. UNCG beat ETSU, UTC beat Mercer. VMI over Western, Wofford over UNCG, which is crazy after losing to VMI. And then ETSU over Furman in the Sunday game. Super tight one there. And that game kind of put Furman at risk heading into the second half of the conference slate to potentially be part of the bottom four heading into Asheville. We shall see. But the standings are Sanford atop at 8-2. UTC and UNCG tied at second at 7-3. ETSU at 6-4. Wofford at 6-4. So tied for fourth. And then Furman at 5-5. VMI at 5-5. Mercer 4-6, and then Western Citadel bringing it up 2-8, 0-10. Mike, talk to us about the Mercer game that we have today, Wednesday.
Yeah, that was a great game. First go around, unfortunately, should not have been, but it was at Mercer somewhat early in the season. If you all recall, Mercer all but had us beat, and were stupid enough to foul us on their side of the court with like 1 second left when we had no shot of other than a 3/4 court heave.
Yep.
So we ended up winning at the free throw line 75-74. And it was a really ugly game. We shot 25% from three and just couldn't make our shots. And I think we might have turned the ball over a lot. I don't honestly remember. It's been a while, but I think that we'll be fine against Mercer as long as we don't shoot as poorly as we did the first go around.
I agree with that.
New coach this season, new players. They've won a couple games, but they've also lost a lot of games. So I think we'll be fine.
I mean, yeah, Brownell went off with 18 points that game. He should be able to go off again. They're sitting at 4-6. Like, they're really not that great. So I think I could be mixing these up because this the two teams we play. They do have a pure scorer, unlike ETSU and Ahmad Robinson. But outside of that, they don't have a ton of offensive firepower. Like, Tyler Johnson's fine. Alex Holt is fine. But it's like, if you can stop Ahmad, which we did not, he went off for 29 against us. Okay, yeah. So that's a large if. Maybe an impossible if. But I wrote down that between Ahmad and Tyler, they made 8 threes.
Yeah, they had 49 of their 74 points.
That's fairly lucky. And if we can lock that down, we should be able to get a dub. It's good that it's at home.
Yeah, it's nice to be at home. I think we'll be fine. Like you said, Sam, they had Robinson and Johnson, 49 of their 74 points. So crazy. I think we just try to contain them a little bit better. Our defense has gotten better since early in the season. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. It will be terrible if Ahmad goes off again and Tyler just starts training threes like that Furman kid. But dang. It should be okay. Jeb, any thoughts on Mercer?
I think, yeah. I mean, I said before we played them the first time that they're one of the scrappier teams in the league and that they're going to be a tough win. And they were. But a lot of teams in the SoCon are tough wins this year. It's kind of mixed and muddled. So we'll see where, this one's at home. It's a little bit better situation. If they go off for 30 again, if they have two guys go off for 20 plus, 24 plus, whatever it was, then there's clearly something wrong with the defensive plan. But I think Bucky will definitely, or they're just good. Like, I think they are a good team. They're not the surprising team. They're VMI, right? Like in the league. So Mercer's certainly in there. They're in the hunt. They could certainly be a team that like wins a couple of games in the SoCon tournament, maybe, and steals a couple from some other teams. So hopefully not us.
Hopefully not us.
Yeah.
The dogs are barking.
But I think Bucky Jeb will readjust and the defensive plan for them. So
I mean, is it too? Are we simplifying it too much to say that? Okay, we looked at what happened last time. If we just don't let that happen again, we win. I think that's fair. Like, we didn't have anybody explode for 30 points, Like, we didn't
I
have
think
just an out-of-this-world performance.
the team
So
played
I don't
pretty,
think, I think it's fair.
average. Like, we played
Yeah.
how we played against Furman, against
Yeah.
Mercer.
Yeah. They
That's
just
how
aren't
we
as
played.
good.
We just came out on top on that one.
Yeah. All right, well, then let's talk about, Jeb, to us about ETSU, a much more anticipated matchup on the road. Remember last year, guerrilla warfare in Johnson City, but Jeb, go ahead.
Yeah, ETSU stole one from us at home. I think it was the largest crowd we've had in probably a lot of years in the Pete against ETSU. ETSU won 65-60 in our first meeting in conference play.
Sad.
Yeah, Kwamari Peterson, had 19 points. Jaden Seymour had 16 points. And again, I'll say, I just said this about Mercer, but I think we played the same that we did against Furman and Mercer against ETSU in this game. It was 65-60. The scoring was a little bit lower. But I remember this game just kind of felt like ETSU had control and that they were just in
the
some
refs weren't
ways
calling any
unstoppable.
fouls.
That game was so physical,
Yeah, it was-
considering what
It was a
the
very
foul
physical
count.
game. Yeah.
So, yeah, if the refs let them play like that, good luck. Because you're right, Jeb. They will just control it. And you could be winning and you still don't feel like you're winning.
There were only 25 fouls called in that entire game. Pretty sure, didn't we have a game earlier in the season where there were like 70 fouls called?
Cornell.
Was it Cornell? Maybe.
Oh, no. North Alabama.
Maybe.
Right?
I don't know.
There was
25.
There was something early where it was just whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if they get that, it's over. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
ETSU could win the regular season, obviously. They could win the tournament. This could be a tournament team in March Madness this year. In a lot of ways, I'm not going to say that.
No, let's hear it.
I like how this team is put together. I'll just say that.
I like how they're put together overall. They're super athletic. They play tough.
Play good defense. They can score. They're not going to be the best scoring team.
Yeah.
But
if everybody's scoring 70, they always have a shot.
Yeah. I have a little bit of bias toward UNCG. I think they're kind of. I always say that they're going to win. But ETSU's. This might be the biggest game of the rest of the SoCon.
I think this is a big game for two reasons. One, what happened in the first game at home, this is going to ETSU. They've got a great fan base. Two,
tough place to play.
ETSU is 2 games back from Sanford right now. They win this game, that puts them 1 game back, and within grabbing, so close to being able to, So ETSU needs to win this game if they have any shot at winning the conference, getting the 1 seed. So they're going to be driven.
It is a big game for both teams. And I feel a lot better about our chances of securing the 1 or 2 seed if we win this one. But it'll be tough because the one thing I wrote down is we didn't have to play against Bugs. He went down early in the game. He's their scorer. He's the guy that actually scores on their team. And we still lost. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of impact he has. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully he rises and Kamari falls or Jaden falls, right? Hopefully it's not a 3-headed monster. But we'll see. One interesting thing is they've been held under 70 points since we've played in the 4 games. So if we score more than 70, we should win.
Again, we played average again. We played average against Furman. We played average against Mercer. Played average against them the first time.
This is one of those games, though, the last game where I feel like we played average because they forced us to play average.
Agreed.
Kind of like Furman in the first half.
Yeah.
Mercer was just shooting ourselves in the foot, but it was ETSU's athleticism limiting our shot selection, forcing us to try to take it down low and then blocking every shot that we tried in the paint. So I feel like Furman just played a perfect game plan against us, and it's a little concerning for that reason. Surely Bucky will have, a way to combat that in the sequel, but they just played us very well defensively because they know they can keep up with us offensively. They're not going to go outshoot us.
Well, they dominated us off the ball, and that's something that ETSU can do as well. And that's the problem with this team is if you gunk up the system, then it's really tough because, Colin can't make a contested. Our best driver is Josh. He's inconsistent at best when it comes to driving the ball to the. Now, if he gets a foul call, it's awesome. He's a pretty good free throw shooter. But what's weird is I don't know if he's not drawing enough contact, but sometimes when he gets clearly fouled, they won't call it for him. And maybe he just needs to learn how to sell it a little bit better. But on the misses, he could be drawing those fouls and just for whatever reason is not getting a whistle. So when it just comes to trying to get the ball to the hoop, that's going to be one problem if the offense is gunking up like we've seen in the past. We'll see. But hey, if you make the three, it opens everything up. Like if you just start making your corner threes, they can't play as aggressive.
Yeah.
But if you don't, good luck, baby. Good luck. All right, boys. Any other thoughts on ETSU? We're going 2-0 this week. I said 1-1 last week. I'm feeling a lot better about this week.
I'm feeling. I'm feeling 2-0.
Are you buying or selling this team? Jeb is buying. Mike, you selling?
I'm thinking 1-1. It's feeling like a 1-1 kind of week.
Mike selling.
If we were extending it out to Chattanooga, Wofford, Furman, I would say 3-2.
Let's say that. How do we finish the season now that we're halfway in the game?
Hey, we take
through?
it 1 week at a time, baby. We take it one.
Come on.
We lost 3 games last year. Our team is not as good as it was last year. I bet we lose 5 and get second in the regular season.
This is
You think we lose 3 out of the last 8 games?
Yeah.
Right, we got 8 games left.
Yeah, who are we losing to, Sam? Chattanooga?
Well, I said we were going to lose to Furman. I think we're going to lose the rematch at Chattanooga. I bet we lose. If we don't lose to ETSU, we're going to lose to UNCG. We're going to lose. I bet VMI. They're just out here. They're just out here taking names, baby. They're just out here taking names. I think those are the 3.
I think we lose 2 more, but I also think that if we lose to ETSU,
the floor is the limit if we lose to ETSU. I mean, that's the thing. I think we're going to lose 2, but just based on what we've seen so far, this team can play to a low level. And if you get dragged in the mud against VMI, good luck. Because they
suck, especially if you got the confidence on the line.
They could be 6-5. They could be 6-5. VMI, I'm talking about, or 6-4. They've had close losses too. So this team is sneaky.
This is like the hardest stretch of the entire season right here. Mercer, ETSU, Chattanooga, Wofford, Furman. That's to roll out the season. I mean, it's going to be.
I mean, Mercer is not too difficult.
SoCon Twitter,
easy.
SoCon X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days.
Twitter, not Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. SoCon Twitter is going to be all over these matchups for the next 5 weeks.
All right,
I think the season's going to come down to the last game against UNCG. Winner of that game, gets the 1 seed. Let's see how that goes.
I agree. I think you're right. All right, state of the Bulldogs, boys. Let's bring it home. Jeb, how about you lead us through, starting with the women's basketball?
Sure. Women's basketball went 1-1 last week with a double overtime road win over Western Carolina, but lost on the road to UNCG. We have Mercer at home on Saturday. Emily Bowman leading the way as our top scorer and shot blocker. She's also tied with Annie Ramil. Did I say that right? For rebounds.
Grant's not here.
Kennedy
so yes.
Langham and Claire Johnson are our other top scorers, and UNCG and Wofford sit atop the conference 6-1, while Sanford sits second to the bottom. Not to trick you, at 2-5. Men's tennis went 2-0. Any tennis stuff, Michael? You love tennis.
I do love tennis. Yeah. I'm wearing my pickleball shirt.
So men's tennis went 2-0 this past week. Wins over Southern Miss and South Alabama. UAB, Kennesaw State, and Piedmont on deck for this weekend. Women's tennis got the win over Alabama State 4-0 and traveled to Lipscomb on Friday. Anything about tennis?
We have a double header. Yeah, we got a double header in men's tennis. Kennesaw State and Piedmont, I think, is on the same day.
I mean, just like a little 5-setter kind of, you know.
What's that even mean?
What's a 5-setter?
Yeah. Did I stutter?
It's whatever a tennis fan dreams of.
Oh, you just like
it's when a game goes to 5 sets instead of like in a major championship. Men's tennis is best 3 out of 5. So if
it's like game 7
after 4, you're tied to 2. You play a 5th set.
According to the Football Scoop, aka Samford Scoop,
who's the Football Scoop?
It's a great coaching site. They have like every coaching breaking news event ever.
Yeah. Football
Great
Scoop
website.
Coach Hatcher made a few hires in January. Thomas Morton, former offensive analyst from Auburn, is going to be the QB coach. Cal King, who's a former Georgia Southern defensive analyst, to be the safeties coach. Tyler Zelensky, former Murray State special teams coordinator.
I guess he's going to be the special teams coach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Special
but he got
hired. Anything on football, guys?
No. You can finish with those last two.
So some interesting things from the high school ranks. Former Sanford player and coach Ross Newton was announced as the Pelham Panthers' new head coach. He was recently at UCF for 4 seasons, primarily in a recruiting role. He was on Pat Sullivan's staff and left Sanford in 2020 for UCF. Potential replacement should Hatcher fall short again. That's a pretty good idea.
It's an idea. Yeah, he was on Sullivan's staff, brought in a bunch of that NFL defensive talent. I mean, he's a recruiter.
He's got a cool name.
First and foremost. And then he was on Hatcher's staff for, I guess, 5 seasons.
But he was responsible for like James Bradbury, Jaquisi Tart, Michael Pierce.
He was
in those years.
I'm not going to say he was responsible. He helped bring them in, yeah.
So that should tell you something. Be a great head coach.
Yeah, he's a stud recruiter. I mean, Malzahn took him to UCF with him from Sanford's staff. So, like, you got to think that the guy had a nose for talent. And that's really all it takes at the FCS. If you got better players, you're going to win. At least you're going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. Coming back home, getting some head coaching experience in the high school ranks. No idea if Pelham is any good at football. I'm going to guess they're okay. Seems like a big hire.
That's where Dabo Swinney went.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame this winter. Interesting. Jeb, last point.
Yep. So, DeMarcus Covington, if you haven't heard of him, he's former wide receiver, played at Sanford. He was previously the defensive line he had several coaching positions with the Patriots in the NFL from 2017 to 2024. He has now been hired as the Packers defensive line coach. Seems like the Green Bay is pretty excited to have him there, but it's just cool to see some Sanford blood in the NFL there and the coaching side of things. So yeah, DeMarcus Covington, shout out to him, repping the Bulldogs in the league. That wraps up State of the Bulldogs.
What about the Super Bowl? Do the Eagles get payback for
the Eagles have to win?
James Bradbury's pass interference call 2 years ago?
The Eagles have to win. There's a reason that NFL team hasn't three-peated.
That does
Eagles.
remind me. James Bradbury's still on the Eagles, so he will be in the Super Bowl, right? He did convert to safety. He requested that he convert to safety from corner.
Makes sense.
That's kind of, he's had a reduction in playing time because of that. He's still on the team, and then Montreal Washington's still on the Chiefs practice squad. So
no matter how you slice it, Sanford's coming out on top.
Exactly.
And I
As
think
is
Olin
the,
Duncan's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
he's like half Sanford or a third. He played at 3 colleges, I think. But
All I'm going to say is Taylor Swift went home empty-handed from the Grammys. So if that's an omen about Travis Kelce's hopes in the playoffs,
I thought I saw
we'll
they got
see.
engaged.
it was no.
Oh, I guess
The
everyone
internet
was
would-
I'm talking about
Jed,
Grammy.
Luca.
between Luca and Taylor getting engaged, the internet just would have crashed. So no, Taylor's.
I
not
honestly
engaged.
feel like the energy from those two stories would power the entire Bitcoin network. You never know.
Okay, on that note, State of the Bulldogs is out. We'll catch y'all next week. Please, basketball, let's go 2-0. Hope everybody has a fantastic week, and go Dogs.